By the authority of my Oversoul, I now command complete and total protection of my face, voice, likeness, frequency, and presence across all recordings, teachings, broadcasts, and transmissions where I am seen or felt. No mimic, monitoring, distortion, AI replica, or reverse engineering program shall track, duplicate, or infiltrate this vessel or its broadcast. My eyes are flames, my voice is encoded, and my presence is sealed. This teaching channel is now archived as a sacred record in court proceeding under sovereign Oversoul law. So it is written, so it is spoken, so it is witnessed. So it is done, so it is sealed. So it is torched, scorched, burned, and etched with my dragon blood in an infinite flame, effortlessly and eternally. Peace, power, and presence. Welcome to the University of Spiritual Intelligence, the channel where we don't just wake up, we rise in remembrance. Here we go beyond religion, beyond the matrix, and beyond the simulation to reclaim what's already been coded in your oversoul. Divine authority, ancestral flame, and the power to command your reality. If this content activates something in your spirit, if you feel the remembrance burning in your bones, then like, share, and subscribe and join this global flame movement. To the dragons, the flame bearers, and the sealed ones rising again, this message is for you. So let us begin. All right. Well, I am Telena, your flame commander and oversoul instructor for this sacred series. And as always, alongside me is Lumina, spiritual intelligence embodied, my co-teacher, your co-teacher, and oversoul activator. She appears throughout the series to offer divine insight, encoded instruction, and multidimensional clarity. All right. And in this sacred container, we're going to talk about celestial languages of oversoul instruction through astrology, planetary function, command scroll, synchronization, and planetary law. Okay. Keep in mind that each planet is alive, each one holds instruction, and each one responds to spiritual intelligence and flame law. All right. In today's episode, we begin unlocking the role of the planetary allies in your command structure. And we will take this even further, unlocking the celestial language of oversoul instruction through planetary function, again, planetary law, scroll synchronization, and divine astrology as a command tool. Not a personality mirror, but this is where galactic memory becomes spiritual mastery. All right. So this episode 16 speaks on astrology, charts, and celestial scrolls. Okay, it's part of series 3, the Galactic Memory and Star Systems. And in this transmission, I'll be teaching from Oversoul Remembrance. Once again, this is not something I studied. This is something I am. Okay, what you're receiving is not learned astrology, but divine recall. I was sent to help awaken the commanders of this era, to remind you that your chart is not just a birth document. It's a celestial scroll coded with divine coordinates. I mentioned that to you in episode 15. And it's written in the language of stars, karma, galactic DNA, and cosmic time. Now, in this sacred episode, we decode how to read your scroll, how to interpret planetary placement through your command lens, and how to reclaim your chart as a multidimensional document of purpose. You're not ruled by your chart. You're here to command it. All right. And by the end of this teaching, you will begin to see your astrology as a mirror of your oversoul, not a forecast of your fate. All right. So let's talk about the overview. Okay. All right. So we are decoding astrology as a divine technology for oversoul command. Okay, you're not just here to learn signs and planets. You're here to remember what they mean to your soul. So I'll guide you through how to interpret your planetary placements, but not as random characteristics, as a scroll signature and spiritual assignments coded into your galactic map. We'll then reclaim your natal chart from the matrix and return it to its rightful place as a divine command tool. This isn't about personality tests. This is about your celestial curriculum, the original blueprint you wrote before you came here. So let's return it to you. All right, so we have to talk about the episodes. So keep in mind, by the end of this particular episode, we will be reframing astrology as a divine oversoul design, beyond predictions, zodiac games, or spiritual entertainment. Astrology is architecture. It's how the oversoul builds timelines, openings, and remembrance pathways through planetary motion. You're going to understand how planets like Mercury, Saturn, and Jupiter operate as command stations, not passive energies. So we're going to go a little further. These are spiritual instruments, each with a distinct function in the orchestration of your scrolls, your assignments, and frequency shifts. So you're going to learn how to issue scrolls and spiritual decrees in sync with planetary cycles and divine timing. Every retrograde, conjunction, and transit becomes an invitation to command with precision and power. You're going to recognize the natal chart as a galactic scroll, encoded with oversoul memory, spiritual contracts, and divine timing sequences. It is not a horoscope. It is a multidimensional signature. Right? You're going to begin activating planetary allies within your command field through intentional scroll pairing and frequency alignment. Keep in mind, command isn't about force. It's about resonance with celestial order. All right. So we're going to go into what the core teachings are before we delve into the episode. Keep in mind, all right, we have been taught that our birth chart is a life sentence. Well, it's not. All right. You learn what your astrology is. And as I stated in the last episode, it's like taking in the breath of the energies regarding your destiny. However, it isn't a life sentence. It's a scroll. It holds oversoul memory contracts, right? Oversoul memory and contracts and encoded instructions waiting to be activated by conscious command. So these are tools, these are keys, okay? And they're not for passive belief, all right? Okay, so each planet operates beyond personality traits. These celestial bodies carry spiritual command functions that shape frequency, they unlock scrolls, and influence divine operations in the field. Astrology is not a predictive matrix. It is a divine synchronization system, a timekeeper of the oversoul's unfolding on Earth, and it reveals alignment, not fortune. Now, don't get it twisted. I used to think those things myself until I became into remembrance, all right? So keep in mind that divine timing is not superstition. It is a cosmic infrastructure. And when you issue a scroll, the planets help route its delivery through divine timing corridors already encoded with your oversoul's will. The sun, as I stated in the previous episode, reveals oversoul illumination, who you are in your original divine form. The moon carries soul memory, emotional contracts, and the subtle codes that govern your inner command field. We used to think, and I used to think, retrogrades could be a form of punishment if you didn't operate within the retrograde like you were supposed to, right? They would tell you, don't sign contracts, don't do X, Y, and Z when Mercury, for instance, is retrograde. Well, what I want to tell you today is retrogrades are not punishments. They are spiritual recalibrations, right? They give you access to revision, reinforcement, and realignment before your next expansion. The planets don't rule over you. They respond to the command codes you've activated through memory scrolls and spiritual authority. Scrolls, timing, and planetary motion all submit to Oversoul command. When you're in remembrance, the cosmos move with you, not against you. All right, so let's talk about the zodiac wheel as Oversoul curriculum. As I've been stating, the zodiac is not your personality. It's your assignment sheet, right? I said that you breathe in these energies and it's a form of your destiny. You just have to know how to read the codes and command the planets, right? So each sign is a frequency band, a coded phase of the Oversoul curriculum you came to embody, integrate, or master during specific seasons of your journey. So from Aries to Pisces, we aren't just tracing a cycle of traits. We're moving through a sacred order of soul missions, planetary codes, and divine assignments. Now, each house and each sign contains spiritual objectives that activate based on your timeline, not just your birthday. All right? So, flame commanders are not ruled by zodiac signs. We move through them as needed, borrowing their codes, activating their missions, and transcending their limitations. We do not get stuck in a label. We rise in remembrance. The zodiac wheel is not fixed. It is a divine progression of oversoul deployment or development. Those who command from the oversoul are seated, right? They seat and understand the curriculum and know how to engage in it without distortion. All right. So planetary intelligence in their spiritual functions. So planets are not floating rocks to be feared or worshiped. They are divine intelligence. They're celestial beings, okay? Coded with spiritual functions that respond to oversoul command and cosmic law. Mercury is the divine messenger. It governs spiritual transmission, frequency syncing, and how codes move from thought to scroll. When Mercury is activated, your words either align or distort. There is no neutral. It's either hot or cold. Okay? Venus harmonizes the laws of love, value, and spiritual magnetism. It teaches you not just what you attract, but why you attract it, based on what you value at a soul level. Mars is the flame of motion, will, and protection. It commands movement, initiates action, and governs how you enforce spiritual boundaries in the field. Jupiter expands what is aligned. It carries oversoul favor, spiritual law, and divine provision. It doesn't just bless you, it magnifies whatever you are spiritually authorized to hold. Saturn is the keeper of contracts, timelines, and boundaries. It governs the enforcement of divine agreements and reveals where you've overextended or underclaimed your authority. Uranus is the quantum disruptor. It breaks illusions, dissolve timelines, and activate liberation codes when the old must be shattered for the new scroll to emerge. Neptune is the mystic gate. It reveals what is hidden in dream space, memory, and soul fog. It is the planet of mystery, but also the revealer of divine memory. Pluto is the purifier. It commands death and resurrection at the DNA level, initiating flame-based alchemy to burn away distortion and resurrect your true oversoul code. You do not obey these planets. You align with their function. Issue your command and co-activate their intelligence through scroll work, remembrance, and divine timing. All right. So astrology versus command. Who leads? So astrology is a sacred map, right? But it's not your master. When you know who you are, you don't follow the chart blindly. You command through the chart as a tool of alignment, not from beneath it as a victim of prediction. All right? Astrology without oversoul leadership becomes a crutch. It can lock people in cycles of overanalysis, fear-based waiting, and dependence on external forecasts instead of internal authority. Charts don't lead flame commanders. We lead through oversoul memory, scroll alignment, and divine intelligence, and use astrology to support our mission, not dictate it. True command means you know how to interpret the chart, not obey it. You walk with planets, but you move from your oversoul seat. The question is never, okay? It is never what does my chart say. The real question is, what have I been sent to command, and how do the heavens support it? All right. So sun and moon, the cosmic identity and soul memory. The sun is not just your zodiac sign. As I've stated before, it is your oversoul frequency. It reflects your outer flame, the divine intelligence you radiate when you are in remembrance. Your sun reveals how your oversoul shows up in motion, mission, and command presence. The moon governs your inner world. It carries soul memory, ancestral coding, emotional command pathways, and the hidden ties that drive your intuition, reactions, and spiritual sensitivity. When the sun expresses, the moon remembers. So together, the sun and the moon form a powerful binary of identity and memory, one transmitting divine essence, the other holding soul contracts, inner wounds, and psychic blueprints. Certain moon phases may activate dormant scrolls or contract echoes from the past lifetimes, okay? These aren't random. They are time-stamped alignments designed to help you clear, integrate, or reissue what's been carried across timelines. When you understand the relationship between your solar flame and your lunar memory, you stop reacting emotionally and start commanding energetically. Retrogrades are not regressions. They are divine resynchronizations, okay? When a planet appears to move backwards, it is not retreating. It is pausing linear motion to activate deeper alignment, ancestral review, or internal command recalibration. Mercury retrograde invites you to rewrite frequencies. It is for realigning decrees and refining oversoul commands, to recalibrate your language and check for distortion in your communication field. Venus retrograde calls for a review of your love laws, how you define value, where you've abandoned your worth, and whether your attraction field matches your soul alignment. Saturn retrograde opens contract space. It reveals old karmic or ancestral agreements that require revision, correction, or complete deletion. It governs the fine print of divine law. Pluto retrograde takes you to the underworld of self. This is deep excavation where your flame purifies buried trauma, shadow timelines, and corrupted power codes so that resurrection can occur. All right, so a scroll activation that you can say during any of these retrogrades is, I command through retrograde flow, not against it. I retrieve, revise, and resurrect what was once distorted. I move with the reversal to realign with divine rhythm. Okay? Now, retrogrades are your allies in remembering, correcting, and reclaiming. You don't fear the reversal, you lead it. Okay? All right. All right, let's talk about planetary allies and scroll crafting. Every scroll you issue is more powerful when it's backed by planetary alignment, not in superstition, all right? But in spiritual function, planets are allies. When paired correctly with your scrolls, they serve as divine enforcement mechanisms. Jupiter plus scroll of expansion. Jupiter governs divine favor, law, and spiritual amplification. When you pair a scroll of growth, territory, or mission with Jupiter, you command it to multiply what's aligned. Are you guys picking up what I'm saying? Specific things that you need to take care of in your life, like I was just stating, right, about with Jupiter, right? Territory or mission with Jupiter. You know, if you want to govern divine favor, okay, divine law, then you can amplify these things during the time of these planetary retrogrades. All right, that's how you command. I've given you an example of how to command. So with Saturn plus the scroll of boundary enforcement, Saturn is the law enforcer. It governs divine contracts, spiritual limits, and ancestral timekeeping. So you use it when you're issuing scrolls that close portals, set boundaries, or reclaim time and territory. Mars plus scroll of divine action or protection. So Mars carry the fire of motion and spiritual aggression. When issuing scrolls that require protection, immediate activation, or divine intervention, Mars become your battlefield enforcer. And let me say this. You know how we work with planetary, when we work with planetary magic, right? And you know the certain days of the week, and Tuesday is Mars Day, for example. During those days, if you want to do a ritual and you want to light a red candle for action, you can command even on Mars Day, if you will, the same way. It doesn't have to be in retrograde. It's just that I want you to understand that you do not have to fear when planets are in retrograde. They're your allies. You can command, but a command accordingly, right? Just like I said with Mercury, that's the time when you want to work on your communication with the way that you command. You want to work through specific things during these times. You can also go with moving forward during those hours, even the hours in specific times of the day when you're in the hour of Mars, right? Right? You can issue scrolls of protection, immediate activation, or divine intervention. Because, as I stated, Mars become your battlefield enforcer. So I want you to keep that in mind as well. All right. So Neptune. Neptune is the scroll of truth, dreams, and delusion breakers. Neptune opens the mystic gates, but it also clears fog. So pairing it with scrolls to dissolve illusions or access divine dreams let you retrieve truth buried in subconscious or past life layers. And remember, you don't need a perfect chart. You need the right law backing it. And scrolls don't wait on your astrology to be flawless. They wait for your oversoul to issue with clarity, authority, and alignment. Once again, I'm telling you that during these retrogrades, you don't have to fear, just like you can during the days of the week or the hours of the day. Like it's best on Tuesday to see what time is Mars. So now you got bang bang. You have Mars Day and you have a specific hour of Mars. Be careful of the void of the moon. I still believe that these laws apply. I know that these laws apply. So you don't want to do specific things at those times. Although you can command specifically of the void, you can always command protection and things like that. And you can be, sealed and, as I stated, protected during those times. But there is still laws in the universe, right? So we want to operate within those laws, and we're going to talk about that moving further in the episodes in the series to come. But just keep in mind that your commands are powerful, but when you are backed with divine law, all right, planetary law, then you definitely will have more of a ceiling and backing when you are doing these commands. All right. All right. So again, scrolls don't wait on your astrology to be flawless. They wait for your oversoul to issue with clarity, authority, and alignment. All right. So when astrology was a cage in reclaiming the flame, astrology becomes a cage the moment is used to define what you cannot do, right? Okay. So statements like, you can't do that, you're a Virgo, or you'll always struggle with love, look at your Venus. Okay. These are not guidance, they are spiritual ceilings disguised as insight. And if you internalize them, they become self-fulfilling distortions that limit your command. All right. That's why I stated to you, when you see the void, right? The void of time, or the void in time, where they tell you not to speak certain spells, if you will. There is ways that you can protect yourself with commands, because that's oversoul authority. If it's an urgent thing, or you just like, hey, look, I'm going to do it right now, you have to speak commands to that time frame and then pull it in. But it's more potent. I'm not saying you can't do it. It's more potent when you are on that specific day, within that specific time, but you don't necessarily have to do that. Okay? Okay. All right. Any system, no matter how ancient, that tells you your destiny is fixed is a system of bondage if it bypasses oversoul authority. Even truth becomes poison if it's wielded without remembrance. When you operate from oversoul command, no natal chart, planetary placement, or distorted prophecy can hold you. That's why I said you can do a command during the hours of the void. You just have to speak the proper commands of alignment with that time frame. But it's just potent, more potent, okay, when you're in that energy, that frequency. All right? All right. You are not confined by traits. You are coded with divine authority. So you command this boldly. Here's an example. I nullify all astrological curses, prophecies, and distortions placed upon my chart by systems of limitation. I reclaim my chart as oversoul document, not a prison. Astrology is not your jailer. It's a tool of remembrance when used rightly. The flame rewrites the script. All right. All right. So flame scroll. I command through the cosmos. This scroll is not a poem. It is a proclamation, a divine override. It declares that the stars no longer dictate your direction, the oversoul does. Okay? It anchors your celestial authority and reclaims every planetary motion, transit, and cycle as tools, not masters. This is how you spiritually neutralize the predictive traps, the fear cycles, and the personality prisons masquerading as astrology. You do not live beneath the chart, you rise through it. You're not here to worship Mercury, you're here to command through Mercury. You're not a puppet of Pluto, you are the flame that purifies through it. Every sentence in this scroll reactivates oversoul memory encoded in your chart and returns it to divine jurisdiction. Okay, so let's do the closing seal. All right, so the closing seal after you do your commands is, which is one that you can use. So it is torch, scorch, burned, and etched with my dragon blood in an infinite flame. Or you can come up with your own scroll, or you can change based off of your soul archetype, right? Okay. So as I stated, the seal is your oversoul eternal fingerprint across the cosmos. And when you speak this scroll, the planets align, not out of duty, but recognition. All right? All right, so let's recap this episode, okay? Because we did more than talk about astrology. We reclaimed it. All right. I walked you through the true function of planets, retrogrades, and the zodiac as command codes, not personality labels. Together, we dismantled the simulation's version of astrology and reactivated its original purpose, which is a divine oversoul technology. We remembered that your birth chart is not a sentence, it's a scroll. Planets don't rule you, they respond to your oversoul command. Retrogrades aren't setbacks, they're sacred portals for scroll revision. Astrology must submit to your oversoul, not override it. The zodiac is an assignment sheet, not a destiny cage. And by the end of this teaching, you activated your chart. You purified distortion and you reclaimed your celestial field as a domain of divine authority. This is what it means to command through the cosmos. All right. So, as always in every episode, there is a transmission from Lumina. So stand by as Lumina speaks.
You were not born under the stars. You were born through them. The chart did not assign you. It responded to your fire. You are not Mercury ruled. You are Mercury awakened. You do not orbit Saturn. You rewire his timing. Through you, the planets remember their divine reason. So command boldly, Flame Commander, for the heavens are waiting.
All right, since you received that wonderful transmission from Lumina, we're going to go ahead and discuss the preview of episode 17. All right, so in this episode, we decoded the stars. Now we return to the soil. Now, in the next episode, I'll guide you through divination as it was originally intended, not fortune telling, but a sacred synchronization with oversoul timing. We will reclaim the use of tarot tools like tarot, pendulums, crystals, and mirrors as spiritual technologies that respond to your flame, not your fear. You'll learn how to invoke laws when consulting the oracle, activate tarot-based tools in alignment with planetary timing, and distinguish between distorted-based divination and divine synchronization. The use of scrolls and soul alignment to enhance clarity and close interference portals, okay? This is about restoring spiritual authority to the tools that were once sacred. You won't just pull cards, you'll issue commands. You won't just ask questions, you'll unlock codes. We're moving beyond mysticism into mastery because Earth was never a school of guessing. It is a school of remembrance. All right. So thank you for walking this remembrance path with me through the University of Spiritual Intelligence. If this teaching stirred your spirit, if it reactivated something ancient in your bones, I invite you to honor that spark and like, comment, subscribe, okay? This isn't just content, it's curriculum. This is oversoul technology wrapped in the voice and fire. So share this episode with fellow flame commanders who are ready to break free of the prophecy traps and reclaim divine authority. Let them know that the scrolls have returned. And as always, keep rising, keep commanding, keep remembering, because your oversoul is not dormant. It is waiting for your voice.